is baked by the swords of a soldier. I know that the clubs are weapons of war. I know that diamonds mean money for this art, but that's not the shape of my heart. That's not.
G'day guys, my name's Dave and welcome to another Guitar Zero to Hero song tutorial. In this lesson, I'm going to teach you how to play Shape of My Heart by Sting and Dominic Miller. And this music was also used in Lucid Dreams by Juice Wrld. Now for the basics, you'll need your guitar in standard tuning and you won't need a capo. I'm going to be using a nylon string guitar in this lesson because that's how it was originally recorded. But you can play this on a steel string guitar as well. Nothing really changes. The guitar I'm using in this lesson is the Taylor Academy 12EN, and it's a great nylon string guitar because the neck is actually a little narrower than your regular classical guitars, making it easier to play. Now, if you want to master your chords back to front, then be sure to head over to guitarzerotohero.com to pick up my free guitar ebook. Or if you want to improve on your guitar in general, then check out Guitar Zero to Hero Premium, which is my complete step-by-step guitar course. Let's jump into the lesson. Okay, so let's start with our fingerpicking rules. Now, your thumb will take care of the 6th, 5th, and 4th strings, and your index, middle, and ring finger will take care of the 3rd, 2nd, and 1st strings respectively. Ideally, they shouldn't pluck any other strings other than the ones that are being assigned to. Those are just my suggested fingerpicking rules though, so you can deviate outside of that if you want to, but that's just what I suggest. There are a couple of places in the song where we will deviate, and I'll get to those later. So let's start with a verse, and the first chord shape we have is probably one of the stretchiest chord shapes that we have in this song. It looks like this. So we have ring finger on the 9th fret of the 5th string, index finger on the 6th fret of the 3rd string, and pinky finger on the 10th fret of the 2nd string. So it looks like this. If you're a beginner, you're probably gonna have problems playing that because the dexterity is not in your hands yet. So a good exercise is to just play the chromatic scale down here at the 1st to 4th frets. So assign each finger 1 fret and just move up 1 fret at a time. Over time, your fingers will be able to stretch a little bit more and have a bit more dexterity. And then over time, you'll be able to reach chord shapes like this. So for this first chord shape, we have 4 plucks. We're gonna start with the 2nd string, and then 2 quick plucks, the 5th and 3rd, and then end on the 2nd again. So those 4 plucks. Then we're gonna shift to our 2nd position. So keep your index finger where it is. We're going to lift our ring finger. Your middle finger is going to come to the 7th fret of the 5th string, and your pinky finger just slides down to the 9th fret from the 10th. So this is our next chord shape. So this is a lot easier now, a little bit of relief. So in this position, we have 5 notes for this section. We're going to start with 2 quick notes. So 5th and 2nd. And then we're going to go 5th and 3rd. Hold that out for a little bit and then end with the 2nd. So those 5 plucks. So you can kind of break this up into 3 sections for this small chunk. The first 2 notes, the second 2 notes, and then that final note. And one more time. For our next position, you're sliding this exact shape down 2 frets. So 5th, 4th, and 7th frets. This next chunk is 5 notes and it's exactly the same as our previous 5 notes. So we're going to start with 5th and 2nd, and then 5th and 3rd, hold that out, and then end with the 2nd string. So, and for our final section, we're going to stay in this position. You're going to hit the 5th string, but then quickly change positions. We're going to take our index finger and now bar across the 4th fret. And then you're going to pinch the 5th and 2nd strings together, and then the 3rd string, and then you can slide your pinky finger down to the 6th fret, or you can use your ring finger, it's up to you, but I'll just slide down my pinky finger. So the gap between the bass note and then pinching the 4th and 7th frets is quite quick. So it'll sound like this. So you'll have to shift your index finger up quite quick, like that. And that chunk in total. And that's it for the first line of tab. So it will sound like this all together. Now the second line of tab is almost identical, except our first chord shape is altered the tiniest bit. So instead of having this shape where we had our index finger down at the 6th fret, our index finger is actually at the 7th fret now. Our notes that we're plucking are exactly the same, and everything else is exactly the same as well. So the second line of tab, so that's it for the second line of tab. Next we get to the third line of tab. And here Dominic Miller plays perhaps, in my opinion, the stretchiest chord of the whole song. And personally, I struggle to hit this cleanly. So I have a little bit of a workaround for this, but if you can, then this is the way it needs to be played. So it's the same shape that we had previously in the first two lines of tab, like this. So 5th fret, 4th fret, and 7th fret. But you actually need to add your free ring finger to the 5th fret of the first string. So it will sound like this. So that is incredibly stretchy. Even I struggle to do that. So what I would suggest is just focus on these 3 strings. And when we get to this first string, we'll pivot and take our pinky finger off that chord shape. So start with this. We start with our 5th string, and then 2 quick notes, the 3rd and 2nd string. Hold that out. Then we go back to 3rd, and then we're going to the 1st string. And this is where we need to take our ring finger, go up to the 5th fret of the 1st string, hold that out for a little bit, and then we return back to our positions. So pinky on the 7th fret, and then 3rd string. So that's a bit of a workaround. If you can fret the whole chord for the whole section, then that's ideal. But if not, then just go to the 5th fret when you need to, and then take it back off after you're done with that note. So that will sound like this all together. One more time. Another workaround is actually to use the open 4th string instead of this D note on the 5th string, and then it will be a lot easier. So it will actually look like this. So that's a workaround, but Dominic Miller does play it like this. So let's try to be true to the way he actually plays it and use our middle finger on that 5th fret of the 5th string. But you can just use the open 4th string too. Or play it like this. Luckily that 5th fret of the 1st string is only used in the intro, so later in the verses we won't actually need to do that. For our next section, you'll need to take your ring finger, put it on the 5th fret of the 6th string, pinky finger on the 5th fret of the 2nd string, and index finger stretches all the way to the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. We're going to start by hitting the bass note, and that's just before the 1 beat of the next bar. And then on the 1 beat, we're going to be plucking the 3rd and 2nd strings, but then hammering on our free middle finger to the 4th fret of the 3rd string, like that. And then lifting that middle finger and hitting those same strings again. So that chunk. And then we're going to go to a C sharp, but we're not going to play the full C sharp. We're only going to play a few of the notes. So index finger on the 4th fret, ring and pinky on the 6th frets of the 4th and 2nd strings. And we're just going to pluck 5th, 4th, and 2nd string. And that ends this bar. So it will sound like this all together. And then for the final line of tab, we're just going to shift this shape up 1 fret like this. You're going to pinch the 5th and 2nd strings, and then lift your pinky finger, have your index finger barred so you can hit that 5th fret of the 2nd string. Then the pinky finger comes to the 7th fret of the 3rd string, pluck that. So those 3 notes. With your ring and pinky finger here, slide them down to the 4th frets. Take your index finger and put it on the 4th fret of the 6th string, and you're just going to bar your index finger across the 2nd fret. So again, this is a little bit of a stretchy chord, but give it your best. We're going to pinch the 5th, 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings all together. So this is one instance where your index, middle, and ring finger can go up 1 string. So pinch all them, and then pluck the third string by itself. Lift your pinky finger, hit that second fret of the third string. So those 3 notes. And then end on an F sharp minor chord and just strum that. So the final line of tab. So that's it for the intro, which sounds like this altogether. So that's it for the intro. Next we move to the verse, and luckily the verse is almost identical to the intro. So we just have a few variations here. Now the first 2 lines of tab are identical, so nothing new there. For the third line of tab, when we have this shape, we're actually not going to go up to the 5th fret of the first string anymore. We just need to fret this, and it's a little bit easier. So we start with the 5th string, and then 2 notes, the 3rd and 2nd strings. Then we're going to pluck the 3rd string, and with our free ring finger, hammer onto the 6th fret of the 3rd string. And then lift that and hit the 3rd string again. So, and then we hit the 5th string, and then the 3rd and 2nd strings together. So this section in total. And then the rest of this line of tab is identical. So in total. For the 4th line of tab, when we shift up to this 5th and 7th fret shape, we're going to strum it. It's important here that you don't actually bar your index finger, you only fret that 5th fret of the 5th string. You got to keep the 3rd and 1st string muted and just be holding down the 5th, 4th and 2nd strings. Because when we strum, we only want those notes stringing out. So you're going to strum this with a down, up, up. And then we go to this shape here, similar to what we did in the intro. Strum that, hold that out for 2 beats, and then end with the F sharp minor. So that final line of tab. So that's it for the verse, and the song is mostly made up of this verse section, so we're going to be repeating this a lot. So this is the main part that you need to practice, and it will sound like this. Alright, so next we get to verse variation 1, and it's very similar to the verse except we extend it out a little bit. So after we strum this D shape chord, so we have the down, up, up, we go to this shape. Now regularly in the verse we just strum it once, but we're going to continue with that same strumming pattern here. So down, up, up, and then we go to our F sharp minor. I'm going to strum this with 2 down strums, and then F sharp minor 7, so lift your pinky finger. So in total for this 4th line of tab for the verse variation 1. For the 5th line of tab, we're going to play this D shape again for that same down, up, up strumming pattern. And then when we go to this shape, we're just going to strum it down 5 times. So 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And that's the end of the verse variation. So it's almost identical to the verse with the exception of the last 2 lines of tab. So I'll just play the last 2 lines of tab again. So that's verse variation 1. Now verse variation 2 is identical with the exception of that fourth line of tab. That fourth line of tab is played through twice, not just once. So nothing really new to learn there. That's just something to keep in mind for verse variation number 2, which is just before the outro. Next, we get to the bridge, and there's 5 lines of tab here. And it's similar to the verse, but we have a key change. So the notes we're playing are actually going to be different. We're going to actually be shifting to different strings as well. So our first shape looks like this. So ring and pinky finger on the 9th frets of the 6th and 3rd string, and your index finger will need to stretch to the 6th fret of the 4th string. For this bridge section, we can take our index and middle finger up to the 4th and 3rd strings. So with this shape, we're going to start with 4 plucks. So the 3rd string, and then 2 quick notes, the 6th and 4th, and then the 3rd string again. So the timing's very similar to the verse as well. So if you've got the verse mastered, then this bridge should be pretty easy. For our next shape, you're going to keep your index finger where it is, shift down your ring finger 1 fret, and your middle finger will go down on the 7th fret. There's 5 plucks here. We're going to start with 2 plucks here, the 6th and 3rd, and then the 6th and 4th, and then end with the 3rd string. So that chunk. For our next section, it's identical, just down 2 frets, and we're doing the same picking pattern. And then for our final chunk, we're going to hit the bass note again, and then quickly change positions. So your index finger will need to shoot up, bar across the 4th fret. We'll pinch the 6th and 3rd strings together, then the 3rd string, and then lift your pinky finger, and with your free middle finger, hit the 5th fret of the 3rd string. So this chunk. And in total for the first line of tab. The second line of tab is almost identical, but again, the first shape is just altered a tiny bit. So instead of having it look like this, we're going to actually just shift our index finger up 1 fret to the 7th fret of the 4th string. And everything else is the same, so it sounds like this. For the third line of tab, we go back to this shape. We're going to hit the 6th string, then 2 quick notes, the 4th and 3rd, back to 4th, and then hit the open 1st string, then 3rd and 4th and 6th string to finish this bar off. So in total. And then we're going to go to an E major chord. We're going to pluck the 6th string and then 2 quick plucks, the 5th and 3rd and 2nd together. And then we'll go up here and play a G sharp chord. And you're going to be plucking the 6th, 5th and 3rd strings. So this bar in total. And that line of tab in total. Then after that, we'll shift this G sharp shape up to an A major shape. We're going to be doing some strumming here. So a down, up, up. Then we're going to be playing this, which is a G sharp 7 sus 4. So play a G sharp minor chord, but then take your pinky finger and move it down 1 string. We're going to strum this with 2 down strums. Then we're going to go up to a C sharp minor chord. We're going to strum this with a down, up, up. And then shift to a C sharp minor. So just lift your pinky finger and play the exact same strumming pattern. So down, up. And in total for those 2 bars. And for the final line of tab, we go back to this A major with the same down, up strumming pattern. Then to this G sharp 7 sus 4. We're going to just strum it once though. and then we play an A sus2. So it's the same as that A major bar chord, except you're going to lift your bar so the first and second strings ring out. And we're just going to strum this and hold that out for the full bar. That's a really nice chord. And that's it for the bridge in total, which sounds like this. Now the final thing we need to learn is the outro. So the first line of tab is the same as the verse, so nothing new to learn there. When we get to the second line of tab though, we're going to go to a B minor chord shape, and we're going to play the second string, fifth, fourth, and second. So, and then we'll shift down to an A chord, but you can just play an A7. So just slide your ring finger down to the second fret, and your pinky finger will go to the second fret of the second string. 5 notes here, so our first 2 notes are fifth and second, and then fifth and fourth, and then second string. So, and then we're going to go to this shape, so 4th fret of the 6th string and 4th fret of the 3rd string. First 2 notes is 6th and 3rd, then 6th and 4th, and then 3rd string by itself. So, and then we're going to play this chord shape, which is a bit of a stretch as well. So bar your index finger across the 4th fret from the 5th string onwards. Pinky finger goes onto the 7th fret of the 4th string, and ring finger goes onto the 6th fret of the 2nd string. You're going to start by hitting the bass note, which is the 5th string, and then glide across all the other strings. So that will sound like this. Hold that out, and then we end with the F sharp minor. Now in the actual recording, the outro is just the first 2 lines of tab in the verse, and then we end with the F sharp minor. But what I've just taught you is the live version that they've done, and I think that sounds better, so I'm going to play that in the playthrough at the end. So in total, the outro sounds like this. And those are all the parts you need to learn for this song. So now I'll be doing a full playthrough of the song, and I'll have a vocal track on top for some context. Big thanks to my friend Eric for lending his awesome vocals through this playthrough. Feel free to play this back as many times as you'd like to practice, play along to, and see how you go. Spades are the swords of a soldier. I know that the clubs are weapons of war. I know that diamonds mean money for this art. But that's not the shape of my heart. He may play the jack of diamonds,
the queen of spades. You may conceal the king in his hand while the memory of it fades. I know that the spades are the swords of a soldier. I know that the clubs are weapons of war. I told her that I loved you, you'd make me think there's something wrong. I'm not a man with too many faces. The mask I wear is one. Those who speak know nothing. Find out to the cost. Those who curse their luck in too many places. Those who fear are lost. I know that the spades are the swords of a soldier. I know that the clubs are weapons of war. Money for this art, that's not the shape of my heart. That's not the shape of my heart. That's not the shape of my heart.
Thanks so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this lesson, then I know you'll absolutely love these other lessons too. So hit the link here, or if you want to grab a copy of my free guitar ebook, then head over to guitar0tohero.com or click the link here. Thanks so much, and I'll see you guys next time on Guitar Zero to Hero. Cheers.